Mr Chair.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Two matters to deal with here, the title and obviously the commencement. To begin with the title, because it really does sum up what an absolute shambles of a portfolio Simon Bridges has. The Crown Minerals Amendment Act 2013 Amendment Bill. So the Amendment Act, not even in force yet, and my colleague Marion Street will tell me the 24th of May, is that right? 24th of May is when the Crown Minerals Amendment Act will come into force. So we now have an amendment bill. And as has been noted, despite the fact the rest of the world has moved on to Friday the 17th of May, in the House it's still the 16th of May. It's still possible for the Hurricanes to beat the Chiefs, because it's still Thursday and not Friday when they lose. But it is possible, Mr Chair, but it is possible, that's for Sue Moroney, it is possible, Mr Chair, that this bill, in fact, will manage to pass before the bill that it amends actually comes into force. An extraordinary stuffer. So if I was titling this bill, Mr Chair, it actually would be called the Crown Minerals Amendment Act 2013 Simon Bridges Stuff Up Amendment Bill. Because that's the honest truth. We don't want to have a go at Simon Bridges. He's such a friendly chap. He's always saying nice things about the Labour Party. But today is the opportunity to tell the truth. And the truth is that Simon Bridges has stuffed up, and that should be included in the title. Simon Bridges should actually take some responsibility for the fact that this legislation has gone wrong. There is an alternative title for it here. That could be the Crown Minerals Amendment Act 2013 Golden Age of Government Amendment Bill, in honour of the Attorney-General, because it's the golden age of government to come to this House, push legislation through. That's their golden age. Pushing legislation through under urgency, selling off laws to corporates. That's the golden age of this government, the golden age of democracy, brought to you by an Attorney-General who won't even stand up in this House and take a call about a bill that limits the right of New Zealanders to protest. That is the Attorney-General's responsibility to this House, is to come to this House and actually defend the rights of New Zealanders. But he fails. He fails. So Chris Finlayson has failed, and we could include Simon Bridges and Chris Finlayson's failure in the title of this bill, Mr Chair. But, Mr Chair, if we look at the commencement issue, we really do have a major issue. Sorry, what was that? Apparently a juvenile. Well, it's an interesting statement to come from a man who spent all day on Twitter trying to make ridiculous comments, trying to match Judith Collins for the verbosity and irrelevance of his tweets. So he calls me juvenile. He should actually take a look at the minister in the chair, a boy doing a woman's job, as Marion Street said before, because if it was this side of the House, the Energy Minister would be Moana Maki, and we would not have these problems. Instead, we have the boy wonder in the chair, unable to speak, it would seem, this evening, lost the power of speech, has to turn it over to Chris Finlayson to talk about stiff cheese for the evening. That's the best we've had from the National Party tonight. The only intervention on the Hansard tonight from the National Party in this bill is Mr Finlayson saying stiff cheese. He hasn't even identified what kind of cheese yet. That's all it is. So, Mr Chair, this bill is an absolute disaster for democracy. That could be in the title as well. We could call it a disaster for democracy bill. We could certainly call it Simon Bridges' stuff-up bill. We could certainly call it Chris Finlayson's golden age of democracy bill. But what it should not be called, Mr Chair, is a bill that amends an act that hasn't even come into force yet. Sorry, Mr Coleman, a contribution?
It's 3 minutes to your midnight feast.
Jonathan Coleman makes it. The National Party now have 2 contributions. He'll be out to blow cigar smoke into someone's face in 3 minutes' time. That's what we'll get from Jonathan Coleman. His greatest contribution to New Zealand politics, to stand up there, the maestro, the man who delivered Mount Albert to Labour with every single thing he did.
Mr Chair, it's now 2 minutes until his midnight feast.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, Jonathan Coleman thinks if he tells the joke again it'll be funny, but it's not. He's the man who led Melissa Lee on her triumphant march through Mount Albert. Magnificent strategist that he is for the National Party, Jonathan Coleman. He's got himself on the Hansard tonight along with Chris Finlayson, and still no member of the National Party has got up and defended this shocking bill.
I'm going to call the Honourable Mary Ann Street.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, the commencement date is one of the two clauses under discussion right now for this Crown Minerals amendment.